Hi, everyone. My name is Adam Rubin, and I want to thank SCAN for inviting me to speak today. SCAN's a terrific organization, and I'm grateful enough to be on the board. Now, I mentioned my name's Adam Rubin. I'm a partner at the law firm Levine, Furman, and Rubin. We're an estate planning and outer law firm that's been around for a while, since 1980, with offices in East Brunswick and Jackson. And I just wanted to give you a preview of some of the things you should be thinking about from an estate planning and outer law perspective. So when we talk estate planning, we really break it into 4 categories. The first category that we're going to focus on is getting you protected. So you want to make sure you have some of the basic protecting you documents. I really consider that 2 different documents. The first document I think is incredibly important is a power of attorney. Now, a power of attorney is a document that allows a loved one or a friend to have access to your finances for your benefit in the event you can't. This document is incredibly essential should you ever need help and not be able to get to the bank or to make financial transactions, or even if you need to be able to go to a rehab facility and are unable to sign. The second incredibly important document is called a Living Will Healthcare Directive. Now, the reason this document is so important, I don't even want to say important, essential, is because this document does 2 very important things for us. One, it's going to outline the end-of-life wishes that you're hoping will happen for you. And 2, it's going to appoint the family member or loved one who's going to be able to talk to the doctor for you. These documents are so important, and they're very easy to obtain. Okay. If you don't have these documents and you need assistance, then someone will have to go to court for what's called a guardianship. Now, guardianship is the court process to appoint someone. The courts are always going to be fair and thorough with us, but sometimes they take quite some time. So we really want to make sure we have our ducks in order with those documents. Now, the second layer that I just want to touch on briefly is taxes. Everyone always asks me, what is the deal with taxes, how it works? Well, the very brief overview of when you pass away with taxes. New Jersey at this time does not have an estate tax. We got that one right. But we actually do have an inheritance tax. The inheritance tax might not be as bad as you think. It doesn't apply to everyone. If you have assets that are passing to a child or a grandchild or a parent or even a spouse, we don't even have to worry about the inheritance tax. The inheritance tax is only for assets which are passing to nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, maybe a family friend. And the rate goes from approximates from 10 to 11% all the way up to 16%. Now, everyone always says to me, what about the federal government? How are they taxing me when I pass? Right now, the federal exemption amount is close to $12.9 million per person. So it doesn't apply to a lot of us, but if you didn't notice, I put the words in right now because one thing about the government, anything could change anytime. We know that. Now, estate planning has really changed over the years, okay? Because it's a chance now for you to embrace your legacy, to empower it, okay, to control what happens when you pass away. So it's very important with your assets, you can make sure that they pass to the people you want, and equally important in the manner you want. So some of the planning we do when a loved one passes away is we make sure to put in bloodline protection. So if a child or a friend or a niece, we can protect the inheritance so it'll only pass to your loved one and not pass to any spouses and not pass to anyone you don't want it to. We can also put in inheritances which have drug testing in there, unfortunately, or have age requirements. I personally, my daughters, I have the inheritance set up so they don't get it till 35, We can put in education requirements, right? We can put in that you have to have a job, all sorts of great things, because we don't want our legacy to throw anyone off their path. We can also have someone on a monthly allowance. These are all great ideas. I hope you can feel my energy because it's so special and you have the power to do this with your assets that you work so hard for. The last thing is we don't want them squandered. Now, I don't know if anyone's heard of a special needs trust, but if you know anyone in your life who you want to leave money to and they're receiving government benefits, a special needs trust might be essential. The way it works for your reference is the trust is set up, and we put the inheritance in there, okay? And if the inheritance is in there, then your loved one will not be disqualified from any government assistance. In my world, this is a big deal, okay? Now, when you pass away, there's two very popular ways to leave your assets to people. The most common one, it's been around forever and everyone knows, is wills. The alternative to a will is a living trust. Now, wills have historically been the way to go, if you will, because they were simple, easy, and not a problem in the past. But the issue with wills that some people are getting nervous about is they do have to go to probate. Now, probate is the court process where they read the will and help distribute the assets. Now, it's fair and thorough, and in New Jersey, New Jersey is actually one of the easier probates. But still, it makes your will public. So if you want to avoid probate, the alternative is doing what's called a living trust. Living trusts are very popular, and I think, frankly, they're becoming more popular because privacy is such an important, there's such a movement for it now. It's so important because it's an opportunity for us, if we're private, to avoid, people protect our loved ones from scam artists, and also the trust, I think, it allows assets to be transferred quicker. These are big deals. Now, everyone always asks, there's a couple hot button issues we have to talk about when we talk to seniors. Everyone's always concerned if they have long-term care expenses, how are they going to pay for them? Especially if their motivation is to stay home, but even if they have to go to a facility. So long-term care expenses, there's a couple resources available. If anyone is a veteran, who served during wartime, there are a lot of available VA benefits, including a benefit called Aid in Attendance. And if you qualify for Aid in Attendance, the Veterans Association will give you a monthly stipend that can be used for your long-term care. It's incredible because long-term care costs in this country are crushing. There's no gray area. It's pricey. The average facility, if you go that route, is over $11,000 a month right now in 2023. So that VA benefit, it's one thing, for people who serve the country, frankly, they deserve it. They deserve more. But at least this is something we're doing to really support our veterans. Now, everyone always asks me, what's the deal with Medicaid? I always hear about it. Is Medicaid going to be there in a cape to swoop in when I need long-term care expenses? And Medicaid is absolutely a tremendous government program that absolutely will help pay for your care. If, and this is the biggest if in the room, right? It's if you qualify. So to qualify for Medicaid, a single person can only have approximately $2,000 in his or her name. If you're married, the non-Medicaid spouse will be able to keep a greater, what's called a community resource allowance, okay? Now, a lot of my clients come in, and I'm very lucky. We have over 7,000 clients, and we'll say they're all great people. I love them all. And when we talk Medicaid, they all come in and they all say, what about if I just transfer things? Before I need long-term care, the day before, transfer everything, and then I get down to $2,000. Well, if you do that, you're not going to be able to qualify for Medicaid immediately because Medicaid looks back. And as of now, they look back 5 years. And what that look back means is they're going to look back 5 years and see if there's any transfers, See if, and a transfer in Medicaid's eyes is anything you gave that you didn't receive equal value back. So if someone sells you a pen for $20,000 and it's not a $20,000 pen, Medicaid's going to penalize you, okay? So we really have to keep an eye on everything. Some of these wedding gifts, these nice things, just make sure they're in line because they could come back to bite us. Long-term care and everything, it's so specialized. It's very important that it's so unique to each individual. It's very important that you really talk to a professional. There's a ton of great professionals in the area, but education is king. I know SCAN supports that, our firm supports it. So this is a great intro, but I really encourage you to speak to someone to make sure you're in good shape for your situation. If you have any questions, feel free. And again, I want to thank you, SCAN, for having me here today.